Very good afternoon to everyone, to our research fellows from Inbiosis, our pegawai, our officer, um, our fellow students, the and very warm welcome to our new students and also our current active student. Start with the new semester now. So I hope you all are full of energy and eager to work in the lab. So this morning, you have listened to our director's speech and also the presentation regarding the Institute of Systems Biology, and also the introduction from the student society, as well as from Dr. Goh, the pengusi for the Jabatan Kuasa Siswazah, who have shared with you a lot of tricks and also important information on how are you going to graduate on time once you have enrolled in these postgraduate students programs, either for your master's or your PhD studies. So welcome again to all of you. And similar to every semester where we will have this Taklimat, this presentation regarding the lab managements. So I'm sure for many of you, especially for the first time new students here, you may want to know about the institute, not only from what you have learned this morning for general and also specific detail, but you also may want to know in very specific manner towards how you are going to conduct your research here, as many of you are research mood, or most of all of you are research mood, and you're going to do your research and produce a thesis that allow you to qualify for your master degree or your PhD degree. So hence, this is very important section for you to begin, and for the students who are currently active now, it's also very important for you to remind you the details of how we are going to conduct our work here in Inbiosis. And why it is important. And first of all, before we are talking about getting the degree or your postgraduate training over here, the first thing is the health and safety. So in order to produce results for your very interesting and exciting research, we all have to learn how to conduct the work properly, and to ensure ourselves is safe, and also everyone in the lab, the user, is safe, and the building, I mean entire lab as well as the building institute is safe. So this is the first thing we should come into our mind of why the Taklimat is so important. Only then it come with graduate on time, right? Otherwise, if anything happens, accident happens, or falling in sick, then we are not going to able to produce or do the exciting works that we want to do. So remember, health and safety. Number one, make sure we are healthy and make sure we are safe in the place that you are currently joining. So that's why in this 1 hour or so, I hope I give you some introduction just an introduction, yeah, because I'm sure that there are more you're going to learn in the coming time. So everyone can hear me clearly, yeah?
Yes, brother. Clearly.
Yeah, please do answer if from time to time I'll ask question as such, so that I know that you are still with me. I'm not talking to myself in front of the WebEx and looking myself and looking the participant list, but without knowing you are there. All right, thank you very much. Thank you for the response. Right. So sounds very serious, and but it is indeed very serious things about lab management, so that we would like to make sure everyone, not only the students, we, including what I mean everyone's means all the WAGA, Inbiosis, and UCAM is safe when they are in the compound of Inbiosis, and you are able to conduct your work to achieve your goal in pursuing your research as well as graduate on time, right? So in this Taklimat, for this for our international students, in this presentation or the sharing, first of all, my apology for most of the slides are in Bahasa Malaysia. You may have difficulty to understand. No problem. I hope you pick up later when you join us. And I will explain the content of it so that you will not lack from it. So in this presentation, we will cover lab management. To, we'll have announced the um, how we are going to or the methods when we are in the Inbiosis, how you're going to work, what kind of form that you need to fill and things like this. We also have standard operation or protocol or procedure for uh, fighting with the COVID or regulating the COVID case. So we'll introduce you also the training uh, information, training courses or information that you need to go through in order to uh, start before you start in the lab. So there are also information like one-stop information corner where the document that you can find a lot of most of the important information that you needed. And also I will share with you some accidents or incidents that happened before to remind you about how important that knowing what we are doing in the lab is crucial. And also we'll remind you again for the current active students and the new student who joining us here about there are procedure in dealing with the wrongdoing that we hope that you don't do. So you may have seen this very important slide this morning. I show you again, uh, and after you see it two, 3 times, you know that this is very important, right? So this slide show the lab management organization of Inbiosis. So we have our lab manager, Dr. Lo Chen Fei, and each of the lab here I introduce. We have senior engineer, Puan Aslina. We have assistant engineer, our Encik Muhammad Faros. They are very important, taking care of the buildings. Every single little things in the buildings, we will have Buan Rina and also Encik Faros helping us. And if you go to a metabolomics lab, we have a person in charge, Puan Rafida and Encik Hazim Shami. And they are a very important person. In the metabolomics lab, anything that happened in the lab, please go to them. They are a person in charge of taking care, not only the lab, including the user, you and me. So anything that we face or you have encountered any problem, please go to the person in charge of the lab. Over here, as I just mentioned, we have Puan Rafida and Encik Hazim Shami for metabolomics lab. We have Puan Farida and Encik Faiz in genomics lab. We have Puan Munila, sorry for the I will change over here, and Cik Rohana in the proteomics lab. We have Puan Intan in bioinformatics lab. We have Cik Siti Fatima in RT-PC2. We have Encik Fauzi and Puan Hazira in the lab of Makmal Biotech Tumbuhan. And for chemical analysis lab, we have Puan Shala and we have Encik Shami Afiq. And we also have a very important pegawai here, Encik Shami Afiq, as well as Cik Rohana, who are helping us also in taking care of gas cylinder, autoclave, chemical and disposable, and also a store, and also waste management. And we also have Puan Munila taking care of our cell culture and microbiology lab. So all of them are very important persons in Inbiosis to you and to us. And for your next 2-3 years or 4, you will have them helping you here and there. I hope everyone can know all the pegawai, all our official, and all our PIC here across all the lab. So if you are placed at metabolomics lab, please do know others PIC from other lab, as we are having a shared facilities in Inbiosis. What does this mean? In Inbiosis, all the facilities are shared by all the user. So there aren't a lab is belong to one person. So unlike maybe, I'm not sure where you have trained, there are some places you are in the lab where the lab is belong to the supervisors. And if you have closed other places to use things, then you may need a specific permission or require or write a letter to use other lab. This is not the case in Inbiosis. In Inbiosis, all the facilities are shared facilities. As mentioned, shared by the director this morning, there are some facilities that we do need to pay for the service. Everyone may know that maintaining a facilities, especially a laboratory, is extremely expensive. And for those, even consumable are expensive. That's why some facilities we do need to pay, even we are the internal user, such as LCMS. So here I introduce the structure and also the format of how we run in Inbiosis for laboratories. So no worry to close other labs if you need to use other instruments. What you need to do is just follow the procedures and use it right, correctly. If you don't know how to use, please always ask. So please do know all the pegawai over here. Of course, you may also want to know all other fellows, yeah? So as I have shared, not only the lab is open sharing system, fellow also very open. You can just knock their door and to ask or discuss. Most of the fellows are also very open minded here in a way that we all share our knowledge if possible. Anyone who asks, we will do our best to answer. So far, any question from here? So I go on, yeah? So remember, first thing, we're having a sharing facilities, share facilities, and it's important for you to know all other PIC if you are placed in one lab and you go to other labs. For those currently active students, I think they know the system very well now. Right. So in Inbiosis, you may realize that not only you are going to be the user, what I mean, you over here can be as a master student or PhD student registered under Inbiosis. Your means that your main supervisor is from Inbiosis. You are going to meet also the students who may be not registered under Inbiosis, but their co-supervisor are from Inbiosis. You also may have come across to the students who just come here to attach for a few months, for example, for their final year projects. And the students from industry training for few months for the intern. We also often receive attachment from overseas for short-term attachments. And also we have visitor from either internal, from national and also international. So you will see we are different type of user in the lab. So for you and for most of you, especially who have just registered, our students, you are in the category 1. So there are procedure that you may need to go through in order to, before you start your work in the lab. So of course, you may have to fill in the form. You have to go. So this is in more detail of what is the role of a fellow when we are receiving you. What is the role of the PIC, person in charge in the lab. So all your information will be recorded once you join the lab, and we have all the record for each of the students in the lab. We know how many student is active at one time in a lab. So all this information will be later recorded once you have joined, or for those currently active, they already provided all the information. And before you going to start your lab, you have going to have an induction training for your health and safety in the lab. And we are going to have a thank you later. I will come to the next slide later for it. And I'm going to also share with you later the important information, some of the important information that you may want to know. So I'm not going to do the detail of category 1 and 2, but all the student registered under Inbiosis are categorized as category 1 students. All right. So there are also users who are category 3, where there are people who will rent the lab or do some experiment in the lab, who are actually paying for their use their time or their space in the lab. And of course, for facilities that you are going to inquire which need to be charged, you also need to fill in a form to the for the service that you are acquire you want. So all this information can be found in the website as well. So now you're knowing your category for especially for those who are just registered, and also general running in the lab, the format that we are having. So as we are now in the endemic for international students, for your information, now we are in the endemic of COVID-19. Before was pandemic. So we have a standard operation procedure that everyone may want to follow, where if you are detected positive, you have to fill in a Google form. And every one of us actually registered or downloaded etc. So you have to report to it. And you have to inform the our director regarding the cases, and also you will want to list down who are the close contact to you, especially in the lab. So there are a procedure that even for the close contact as well. So please follow the SOP, and even the COVID-19 has been with us more than 2.5 years now. So still prevention is better. Be alert and take care of yourself when you are in the lab, so that it's always good to not to get it. So the definition of close contact is also being shared before by the Ministry of Health. So for the current student or Malaysian student, I think they know it very well now. But for international students, you may want to be aware of, for example, people who live with you, your family member, they will be classified as a close contact. The time that you meet together within the distance, for example, 15 minutes in a distance less than 1 meter, will be classified as a close contact. In the close places for more than 2 hours, will be considered as a close contact. In the same car or in the same transport with a very close distance, not more than 2 seats, will be considered close contact, for example. So for all the warga and the students, please contact and inform our Ketua Pentapil or Encik Jaili regarding if you are tested positive or the close contact. So here is the information of Inject and the email as well as the phone. So please let us know if you are positive or or close contact, so that we can prevent the spread of the virus better. Always, as we learn from this virus for the past 3 years, always avoid to be in the very crowded places, or try to avoid in closed places without much space, and chit chat in a very close distance. So always keep the distance, always better, and do wash your hand, wear your mask, and always aware about symptoms and the signs of it. So please take care of ourselves, take care of yourself and your friends in the lab. Again, come to the health and safety, right? So remember and remember. So next, I would like to share with you the thank you and or the kursus for the health and safety in the lab training. So in the coming 2nd of November, we are going to have a thank you for workshop for the laboratory safety induction. So in this morning, all the students, including the currently active students, must join the sections. So in the PIC who are listed here, they will share very important and crucial information with you. For the currently active students, we always encourage you to know more and to avoid making anything mistake that unnecessary. So please join the thank you. Not please, yeah, you must join. So it's very important. So after the sharing section from 9 to 11:30, you have also a discussion section between the students and also the person in charge or the pegawai from Inbiosis. And we'll provide you lunch. So on the second half of the day, on the 2nd of November, there's a demonstration for how to use this essential and simple instrument in the lab, such as pH meter, micropipette, weighing scale, centrifuge. We have a few centrifuge. So you may think that this is very simple, but I have to inform you that every year we're having problem. We're having problem of our user is not competent of using our instruments, even a simple one. As a result, we had experience of broken instruments. So here listed, those are simple, look simple, but essential, and yet we have experienced many incidents before. Hence, we think it is crucial for everyone to know how to use those basic instruments as a good start, because we have more and more sophisticated machines in the lab, which are not listed here, but just for a good start for you, it is important to have knowing how to use the machine properly, and also practice the way of, if you don't know how to use, how are you going to learn, or who you can learn from to use the machine properly. So none of us born by knowing how to manage or use a machine or any machines. We are all being taught. So remember about this. I know everyone are smart, as you can enroll here for your postgraduate student. There's no doubt of how smart you are now. That's however, we all born without knowing things. So please learn if we are unsure how to operate the machine. This is not only about broken machine, but also your safety. For example, centrifuge can be very dangerous. So please remind yourself and remind your friends around. Before you are using any of the machine, ask yourself, do I know how to use the machine? Am I using it right? Safe? Please ask at least these few questions. So for the new students, before or after the inductions, you may want to fill in the this form. In this form, you have it proves that you have gone through the training, and you'll be signed by the trainer, in this case, person in charge of our officer, and the date that you have gone through the training. So to make sure that you have went through the training properly before you start your work in the lab, and also you also need to go through the online induction course, in which you are going to do there's few questions. There are questions that you're going to answer. So to prove that you have went through the training as well. So here also you have a declaration. After you have, before you sign the form, you have to declare that you are going to be all the time careful in using the instrument in Inbiosis. Follow the rules, follow the SOP on how to use the machines, how to behave in the lab, what should be done and what cannot be. So there are detailed rules. So you also want to declare that you are going to report if there's any incident happens or missing machines to the person in charge in the lab. So all this is actually to remind us that we are competent to work in the lab and we are taking care of our lab. So we used to have a website or portal, but we have moved this information over here. So if you type, you just click in, then you get the information for all the inductions. So this is what you have to, the item number 1 over here, khusus induksi keselamatan makmal, where you have to go through all the module. So in this, all the module number 1, introduction to laboratory in Inbiosis. Then you have module number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, we have evaluations. So you will have to go through all these modules and complete the quiz, the evaluations. With the form, after you have done it, then you have a certificate so that you will be signed over here. Over here. All right. For the new student, remember, on the 2nd of November, we will have this training. Physical one. Yeah? For those who are not able to join physically, every semester we are going to have this training. So we look forward for you to join us physically in Inbiosis. Just a repeat of the module. So please go through, and the design of this module actually has been awarded the Innovation Award 2021. So it's a great module. Please go through. For all the new students and for all the current active students, if you have forgotten, please, the module is always there. You can access and remind yourself. So there are also YouTube playlists that you can go through to learn about health and safety. Not only how to use machine instruments, but also how to protect yourself with the PPE. So remind yourself when you spend time in the lab, please make sure you come in a good shape. You go home every day with a good shape too. And make sure everyone around you as well as safe as well. Please remember, if we can all doing this, you have passed the first task before you get the GOT. Right. So where you going to get the information, for example, that I shared just now. So if you go to the Inbiosis web page, there's a guideline. And you click into the guideline, there are many documents, right? And there's one-stop information corner. There's a tindakan tata tertib keselamatan dan kesihatan. So the health and safety procedure that we're going to take on if the student doing any wrongdoing, making any. Remember, we are not here to pinpoint who are making mistake and things like this. However, there are rules here. There are rules that we have to obey that and remind ourselves that we are doing right all the time and not being careless so that we make mistake easily or not taking care of others people's safety. So there are also forms that is important for you. For example, access card form and things. And so please go to that guideline and you will get the information for this. Right. I'm not going to do very detailed, but some point I want to point out. So you are going to have this induction course. The SOP I have mentioned. So you know that the lab is open 8:30 and to 5:30. But as Dr. Goh have shared this morning, postgraduate and in research mode is not a 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 jobs. And many of our experiment is actually sometimes overnight. And our job and our brain is always working. So although the lab is open 8:30 to 5:30, there are possibility that you may want to ask to stay after work, including the weekend. So there are procedures that we need to follow. As you want to finish your work, you're eager to get your work done, and there are important experiments that you cannot stop in the middle. We all are scientists and researchers. We do understand all this, and we have a procedure which everyone have to follow so that we not only doing our work, as I say, but doing in a safe manner. What does this mean? So for the current new students, the newly joined students and the current active students, the procedure that we are having here is that when the student want to work overnight, first of all, please apply. You need to apply. There's a form that you need to fill, so that please plan your experiment ahead. Please apply to the person in charge of each lab that you want to stay overnight and get the approval. So this is crucial. You say, why? I'm a adult. I can be independent in the lab. I'm a senior student. I know how to work or use most of the machine. Yes, you're probably right. As I say, you all are smart, so there's no doubt. However, health and safety number one, as I say. If we are working over after work, means that the building may not have other people around. So for those who are currently active students, we know where we are situated at, right? We are in the middle of the jungle. For the newly joined students, if you are just newly come here, you may see and like the green that we are having. I'm still liking it very much since first time for the past last 10 years ago, before I joined, I really liked where we are, as we are surrounded by the green. This also means we don't have many people or many neighbors with us. So after work means most of the people will work and go home already. If you stay, the chances of you to work in the lab alone and without someone is rather dangerous. For instance, if you are somehow working with experiment and then that day somehow you faint and there's no one around, there's no one will save you. All right. That's why we having the rules. If you are work after you are stay in the lab after work overtime or overnight, stay during the night or during the weekend. First of all, we would like to know who are working in the lab. We have the record so that the person in charge, our pegawai, know you all are who and who is in the lab. Number one. Second, there's a company who with you, so at least two people are in the lab. If anyone having a problem, another one actually can take care of you or report or call ambulance or taking care of each other in a way. Or anything happens of the accidents or incidents, there are people around you to support you. So that is the rules, why the rules is set. So please follow these rules strictly. We cannot tolerate that the user not following the rules, because if anything happen, we are far away. We are situated in the middle of the jungle, if you can see from the Google map. I mean, it's beautiful green, but we need to be aware about how important that we follow the rules if you want to have your work done and done it in the safe manner. Any questions? Clear? It's a good reminder for our current elective students, right? Thank you, Dr. Khalida. So please read through this. And for the international students, we have a English version of the document as well. So please follow all the rules here. For example, I just point out some, or maybe I just go through. As I mentioned, you apply to the PIC, as this is very important. So let's go through. So this is a must, yeah, that you are accompanied by another lab user. Not asking your family, yeah, it's a lab user, all right? Not asking your friends somewhere to come and accompany you. No, no. It should be the students or the staff, our pegawai or warga Inbiosis. So when you are coming into the lab, please fill in the logbook where to record your in and out. And make sure all the machine that need to be closed, the switch off, but make sure the machines at 24 hours stay 24 hours. For example, freezer, don't switch off the freezer. For example, this is particularly important because a freezer having a treasures of everyone. So I have shown you the form. So remember this. Please fill in the form for your stay after work. Also, there's a reminder. The key of the lab should be from the person in charge of the lab, which is our pegawai. There's no other key or duplication of the key is allowed. Remember about this. We strictly concerned about if there's any wrongdoing of this. So if you go through the guideline just now I mentioned, so there are other informations that you'll be able to obtain, and I want to show you some other point. One of it is that the procedure in using the instrumentations or instruments in the lab. Make sure you write your name to the logbook of the machine when you are using the machine. Before you using the machine, actually. Start from now, please. Not start from now. For the current active student, you should have doing it now. But for the new students, later when you start joining the lab, before you use any of the machine, we are having a logbook of machine. Please put the information of your name, the time that you use, when you finish the usage of the machine, is that in the good condition of the machine before you sign out. And this is very important for the record. And remember, it's not to pinpoint who have used a machine, then it's broken, then we go to find him or her out. No, no. Don't get this wrong, yeah? The important of here is, number one, the user that coming to use the machine will see the logbook and to know whether the machine is in good condition for him or her to use, or even to plan the work. Because there may be no one in the lab and look at the logbook and you can plan your experiment 2 hours later. You know that the machine is good, right? Number two, when you put all this information in, we know that the machine is being used. How many users are using the machine? So that if no one writes on what the machine of the machine that they are used, means that people wouldn't know that this machine is useful. So if it's broken, then we look at the logbook, we will say, oh, there's no user for this machine. Then no need to repair lah, because fund of maintenance and repairing is limited. So we will fix those machines are more priority. So if the machine have no user, then the priority will be low. So if you are the user of the machine, please do write down when every time you use it, so that to prove that the machine is actually useful. And if it's broken, it can be fixed in the top priority. Okay. So there are others advantage of it, of writing the record of logbook. Please have this good practice. And this apply to many other places, not only here in Inbiosis. This is almost a universal, a standard method. Everywhere you go, there's this method of how people do the recording. So for those who are using the machine for overnight, for long, please put a note. Remember, the lab is belong to everyone. Means there are many other users. Not only your experiment is important, other students, other users' experiments also important. Everyone, for us, all the experiment is important. Hence, we also have to take care of other people. Please write down your notes so that people are aware that how long you're going to use. Also, putting the logbook there, people also know who are using, so that if they are using similar conditions, they can contact you and to arrange whether they can share the facilities, for example, incubator shaker. So that everyone can have their experiment run without delay. So please also have this good practice with you. So far, okay? Everyone okay? I continue, yeah? Thank you, Daha. So for bahan kimia, bahan kimia chemicals. So we also have rules on handling chemicals. Please write your record in and out of the chemical. If it's already finished, please write down and let the PIC know that the chemical is finishing, not finished, finishing, so that ordering can be made before. As we know, as you may know, it takes time to make order and to order chemical to come, because most of the chemical we are import from overseas, and it takes time to make the order. And also recently, because of a supply chain problem due to the COVID pandemic, it takes longer time. So it is very important to have a good management in terms of ordering consumables and also chemicals. Please, before the chemicals finish, write it down, inform the PIC, so that the next user is going to have the chemical to use. Otherwise, you're going to be maybe last one to take the bottle and realize it's empty. I'm sure no one wants this, because you are rushing for your experiment, you want to prepare a buffer, very important experiment, but then it's empty. So please, we don't want this practice. Yeah, we want the practice is, if the chemical is finishing, before it finish, please inform, so that we can order the chemical before it finish. Labeling of your bottle, of your tubes and things like this. Number 10. All the user, I know that you are now experienced in the lab. Just a reminder for you. Please write in full detail what kind of chemicals they're using, what kind of sample that you are actually having, especially for your proper code, your name, or at least abbreviation, so that people know if this bottle is somewhere or this tube is somewhere, people know who this tube belongs to. The date, so that we know how long it has been. All this information sounds very general, but we still can find many tubes scattered around that we don't know who is the owner. We don't know when the sample was prepared. We don't know what kind of chemical. So please do not have this practice in Inbiosis. Yeah, we are here to train you to be professional. So this is part of the professionalism. If you are in the lab, you must want to know what kind of chemical next to you. So do your friends. If you are working on something very dangerous, if you have a label, people know about it. That's why it's important to put what kind of chemicals. Please don't write false information. Yeah, please write the real and truth of the information. For example, urea, you don't write as a other chemical, right? So be professional. Yeah, very important. And number 11 is waste, whether it's chemical waste, biological waste, or the sharp of the grasses. So there's a proper method of disposing the waste. Please be aware about this. If you are not clear, I'm not going to go into detail over here, but you're not clear, please ask. I'm here to inform you we have a proper procedure of handling all sort of waste. is some of the code of the list of chemicals, just for your information, but please get info specifically for the waste that you are dealing with later. For example, there's fungus waste, there's a waste for the sharp or the grasses. Another thing I want to point out, maybe autocave. Most of us are going to use these autocave facilities service because we have pegawai helping us. We are very lucky to have pegawai helping us on handling the waste, as well as the autocave of the buffers and chemicals. So buffer chemicals and media and things like this, as well as waste, is we going through the autocave, right? Remember the practice just now I mentioned. Make sure all the labeling are there. Your name is there. The date you made it. So we know each of the bottle, each of the box belong to who. So that if you have forgotten, people can bring it to you. Right? So this is important. And also the waste. If you have some waste to autocave, please also write down properly your name. When you prepare the waste for the autocave or decont. After things have been autocave, please take back your belonging. Don't put there for some bottle, for example, I'm sharing with you some bottles that with some media waste after autocave, decon, it was there for some time, and after that, fungus will grow. So it look messy and smelly of the autocave room. So we don't want that, right? Everyone want to have a clean, tidy of the environment that you are working in. So please have a good practice as well. Remember and remind yourself and your friend on this. Right. If there's any accident or broken of the machine, or you have any complaint you want to make, please fill in if the information and inform, or please inform first to the PIC if any emergency. You can fill in a form for the incident that happened and also the instrument that broken, and we will try to solve the problem as soon as possible. We means the PIC, the fellows, or the management of the Inbiosis. So we will try to solve the problem as soon as possible. You can also fill in the form in the effects UKM system regarding the complaint and incidents that happened. So there are form or Google form that, and also the system that you can go in to file it. So there are general rules of when you are staying in the lab. Of course, first of all, there's no food and drinks in the lab. Please be sure the lab is to work, and lab having all sort of chemicals, and also if the microbes, you have maybe microbes around and you don't want this with you, with your food and your drink. So make sure the lab condition is always tidy and cleaned. Make sure you clean your bench after you have work, after you have finished your work a day. So keep this good practice so that every day when you come to the lab, you are actually happy and see your bench is tidy and clean to start another day. And also clean up the common places where you have done your or conduct your experiment. Common places means everyone have to take care. It's not common places means no one have to take care. Common places means we all have the responsibility to taking care of it. Make sure the place is clean and tidy like before you use. So if your friend around have forgotten, remind them to do so. So we help each other to remind each other to make sure the lab is in the good conditions. There are a few examples. You have a bottle, don't know who have measure and you left it there. And of course, the coming people wouldn't do anything, just leave it there. And someone put another box, then didn't take it out. The box also no label. Then if you leave it there, and it will accumulate. So we don't want that, okay? We don't want that. Also, the last person who leave the lab, of course, every day, the PIC also will check, but often the students stay over after work. So please double check and make sure the switch that need to be switched off, please switch off. Need to be 24-hour, please do not touch. For example, freezer, yeah. So there are some examples that we have gone through and you want to know. For example, this is the centrifuge. Centrifuge is very dangerous. We need to know how to use centrifuge properly. If you see this lotto broken into the pieces, yeah, you can see how big the momentum. Imagine the 10,000 RPM, how big the momentum it would be. Yeah? So this is very crucial and important. Don't take it lightly or don't take it easy for these things. Always take it seriously. Yeah. You see the incubator shaker. You can see all the style or the way that people deal with, and not this tube not supposed. This holder not supposed to be here. Is here, for example, and very dirty, for example. Please make sure how to use the instrument properly. Look at the switch, for example. Please report immediately if this thing happen. Yeah, and this is dangerous. It will caught fire. So please report immediately if there's any incident that you have encountered or you have found. Right. There are also that user didn't switch off the machine after use. This is the lab was already closed, but then the light is on for the machine. There are also chemical on the bench without labeling, without who actually measuring it, and it was there a few days, for example. So these things happen. There are many and many other examples. So please do not have this kind of practice in Inbiosis. Again, I remind you here, the training here you're going to go through is for postgraduate. You are going to be a professional. So every little thing counts for our professionalism. including this health and safety. If you want to be well-trained, as well-trained researcher, please take my words and practice it for the coming 2-3 years that you're going to be with us is Inbiosis. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to ask. We are always willing to share. Another things to share very important to everyone. Everyone means everyone here, yeah? How I mean. Because we are having a sharing facilities, as I say. -20, -80 is a place that we keep our stock and our samples, particularly for those that need cold temperature to preserve the activity or to preserve the sample. So one freezer could have 20 users or maybe more from one lab or to the other lab. So it has many people's sample here, many people's sample over here. Your sample are going to be here too. It also means many people will going to switch to open the freezer every day, on and off. As one of the user, please always check the door of the freezer is properly closed and locked, if possible, so that the door is actually not opened. There are incidents happened before where the door is half closed. So there are some sample are melted and the student lost sample or the user lost the sample. And we don't want this happen and never happen again. One is too many, yeah? You cannot tolerate this because you don't want your work being jeopardized by other people's mistake. And you don't, we have a responsibility for not doing so. Okay? This is very important. So every year, we are spending a lot of money to maintain and to fix the machine. This is just so far some that we have paid, and also for maintenance, scheduled maintenance. So we spent about 70,000 so far on fixing and maintaining the machines. Some current students may say that some machine may take longer time to be fixed. We apologize for this, but we also may want to let you know that the procedure of when the machine is broken, we will then have to ask for the engineer to come. And the engineer will schedule the time to come to check the machine and to see whether it's a minor or major problem. And after that, we will then getting the quotation of how much that we need to fix the machine and to have the engineer to fix the machine. And if the machine involving ordering the spare part from overseas, it will take longer time because, as I say, the logistic problem that take longer time now to have the spare part to come in to get to have the engineer to fix the machine. So we need to be aware about all this. So ideally, we take care of the machine properly. Unnecessary mistake, we don't commit to it, so that we make sure everyone having instrument to use. We make sure all the instrument in Inbiosis is in good condition for our experiment. I also would like to share, this is the bill that we are having every month. for the past first 6 months of the year. So we almost have to fall out of 11,000 for electric bill. Please have a practice to save the energy. Hopefully, with that, we can save the earth too, right? So I have some instrument that we have fixed this year. Again, this machine having problem again, I know, I'm aware about this, and engineer is coming to fix on a Monday. And there are new machine as I share, but this machine is broken now. As that's why I'm sharing so many details that emphasize on we need to ask ourselves, are we competent on knowing how to use a machine? As simple as centrifuge. This is broken. It was new. So we also acquire new machine to come to the institute to make our institute more conducive for many kind of experiments. So from time to time, we have also buy or purchase new machine. Depends on our budget as well. So that please take care with the notes that I have given, because otherwise the incident or accident like fire, burning will that we must avoid, not try, we must avoid, because imagine if anything of like this happened, GOT going to be a dream that you hard to be achieved. So health and safety number one, make sure everything's running well, safe, then you're going to achieve your GOT. So remember about this. So finally, for the wrongdoing, if you have anything wrongdoing, there's a proper procedure that we have drafted out and implementing to investigate if for each of the incidents, especially those are careless, are not paying attention, not follow properly the procedures, and we take this seriously. So I'm reminding the students again on this. So they are formed during the to record the incident for the investigations. So over here, the student or the, sorry, not only just a student, the user of the lab are going to be, if identified, is going to sign about the wrongdoing that have been committed. And you will bring into the discussion by the JKKP, which is chaired by our director and with the committee or with the members in the committee. So with that, I would like to end my sharing today. So I went through from general to a bit of more detail, but the whole message is, of course, I don't expect you to remember everything for now, but the take-home message over here is that health and safety, rules and regulation that we have to follow, and there are rules and regulation over here to make sure the user, which is you and me, and other user around you, which is your friends and the building and others, all others, are in the safe conditions when spending their time doing their lab work, doing their study in Inbiosis. And I wish you to have a great journey in Inbiosis. For some of you may start your research journey in Inbiosis. We will do our best to support you. And we hope for your best collaboration in following all the rules and regulation, and make sure yourself and other user is safe. All right. With that, I also would like to thank Professor Dr. Wan Muhammad Aizat before, who have prepared slide. He was the CGAT before. Dr. Law, lab manager, and also all the pegawai of Inbiosis that I have shared with you. They are very important people and persons in the institute for you and for all the user. Thank you for your attention. I happy to have a Q&A.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Leong. So students, could you please ask any questions? You may ask by unmute your mic, or you can type in your question.
Are there any?
Hi Doktor.
Yes.
As for the bengkel keselamatan this university,
Yeah.
all those file that you have shown just now, including the quiz and such, will get on that day or will get before the
Sorry.
bengkel?
For the?
Meaning the documents, is there any documents or any the module in?
Yeah, we can send you we will send you the link.
Okay, all right, okay then.
Thank you. Others?
Dr. Leong, the workshop, is it next week? Which date is it? Sorry,
2nd of
I
November.
missed that.
2nd
Second November.
2nd
All right,
of
2nd November. All right. Oh, the whole day.
Yep. For the first
Mm-mm.
half day, it involves all the students,
Okay.
currently active students as well as our new students. For the second half, it's only involve the new students. Is that clear?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Leong.
So to me, I think it's very simple. to work in the lab. Yeah. As I have shared, those rules and regulations you follow, and you not just follow if you put more efforts and try to understand as well why such a rules and regulation exists. And you are going to be a professional, as I say, right? You're going to be having your master degree and a PhD degree. You're going to join the other institutions or industry, and those places that you are joining in the future, they're also having rules and regulations, which is likely to be similar, maybe not the same, but similar. And by knowing all these things, you may get even a job. Yeah, there are lab managers that you need to know all these details. So I hope that you also take this opportunity to train yourself and to know, not only just to follow the rules, but to know the behind of those rules and regulations. So you are all-rounded trained, not only in your research, but also in the lab. And this is crucial. Your lab, how you conduct lab work is very important to determine whether you are going to be successful in your experiment and also GOT. So if you think in this line, I think you may enjoy and learning all these rules and regulations and found it useful, not only to be safe, but maybe for your career in the future as well. Are there other questions? The new students?
Dr. Leong,
Hi.
can we have the slide as well? The slide you're presenting.
Which slide? All the slide?
This copy. Have a copy of this slide.
Yeah, should be fine.
Yeah.
We'll put it in the in the website. Just to share some, if you don't have question, then I take a few more couple of minutes to share a bit more. If we are new in the lab, first of all, as I say, please do know the organizations. The person who are in charging of each of the lab and also the instruments. So this is very important to know them and read about things that you're going to do, you're going to use. For the chemicals, please go through the MSDS, for example. To us, everything is dangerous. Treat everything is dangerous in the lab. And this is the mind that you may want to have. So that, first of all, you make sure yourself is safe. If you think things are non-dangerous, the mindset is putting yourself into the danger is higher, the chances, right? So first of all is everything is dangerous. That's why you have to handle it carefully. number one. And you follow the rules, wearing the PPE that you necessarily, lab coat, for example, especially if whatever work that you're working on with microbes or with chemicals, if you spill, then you still have a lab coat to protect you. Wearing a proper shoe so that when you spill, the acid wouldn't get into your feet. All those common sense. Of course, when people say common sense means sometimes not a common sense, not a common sense, right? So be aware that anyone can be a victim. We ourselves. So this is a mindset we need to have in the lab. That's why with that, we are taking care of everything that we are dealing with. And to make sure people are safe as well. So this is a culture we are having in Inbiosis. So as simple as that. And you ask, if you don't know how to use instruments, please ask. Everyone is willing to teach. Again, we know everyone is smart. Asking questions wouldn't reduce that. Asking questions wouldn't have an impression that you are not smart enough. No. You are here today with us in the university. For me, everyone is smart. Yeah. As I say from the very beginning, no one born by knowing things or without learning, right? So have a good practice on this and always learn from others who are more experienced than us. From the reading, there's a YouTube now, a lot of information available. You can go through, very useful. Google, all sorts of information about chemicals and that you are going to deal. Just type and ask. So we get all this important information with us. So remember, in Inbiosis, we encourage our user and our student to ask and to discuss, okay?
Dr. Leong, there is one question in the chat box.
Yes, I couldn't see the chat box. How? I have to sharing.
The triple dot.
Triple dot, yeah.
You need to go to the when you click participants, is it?
Don't mirror.
You want me to read for you?
Yes, please. Maybe I stop sharing and see. Maybe I go back to the.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, it's over here. All right. Okay. Wait. I don't have it. Stop sharing. Okay. Stop sharing. All right. Then I back to this window. Okay. All right. Chat. Doctor, for the safety briefing on 2nd November, how about the students who are not currently at Inbiosis? Do we have the online version? Thank you for the questions. Yeah, for those who are not currently in the country, right? For our international students, you are not working in the lab yet. So we are going to have it next semester when you come in. Are you coming in next semester? For the second part of the training, for the first part of the training, yes, we do have the online that you can go through. This is column number 1. But the second part of the training, it will be a physical. So only when you are physical here in Inbiosis, we will provide you the training, the induction. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Is that
Dr.
clear,
Ang,
Ivana?
I think there's the online induction course, right? The student
Yep,
can
yep.
take the online first. I
Yep,
think that's what she's asking.
yep, we do, as I mentioned. So the first column, everyone will have to do the online anyway. And the physical one is currently for the student who are joining physical and going to start working physically in the lab. The online one, the link will be shared later, as I think at the beginning there's a question about this. Yes, the link that I show, we will share to all the students.
Is the link shared already with the student for the online induction?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay.
We send through email later, so that everyone have a record. Everything clear, yeah? No worry. Always can ask us anytime. If you are having a lot of information today, because I know it's very heavy for everyone, having a lot of information. But question anytime is welcome. All right, if there's no further questions, so I thank again for your attention on this afternoon sections. I look forward to seeing you in the lab, and I wish you a great start for our new students in Inbiosis, and also our great progress for all our current active students. Dr. Khalida, I pass it back to you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Leong. I hope all the students, including the existing student, could understand the rules and regulation and safety in our lab, where we really emphasize on the safety. Remember what all the advices that given by Dr. Ng, that safety first. Always be responsible when you're doing any lab work. And if you are not really clear, please ask people around rather than you just use it without clear understanding. And we look forward to seeing you again in the briefing next week in 2nd of November. I think on Wednesday, right? On Wednesday, yeah. So I think that's all for now. Before that, Dr. Go, do you have anything to add on?
No, don't have. Thank you.
All right. With that, I think this is the end of our sessions. Again, thank you to all students, and I hope you will enjoy your life here as a student for the next 2 and 3 years. Again, see you again. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Very much, doctors and professors.
Thank you, Doctor.